US President Donald Trump says he will be leaving for the Middle East very soon after Israel and Hamas agreed the first phase of a peace plan proposed by Washington. Israel says a ceasefire will come into effect this evening once the deal has been ratified by the Israeli government. There has been a broad welcome to the agreement amid hopes it could lead to a lasting peace in a war that has killed more than 67,000 people.
In the darkness of Gaza, a sudden burst of celebration as word came through that Hamas and Israel had agreed the first phase of a peace plan. They were emotions mirrored in Israel as families of hostages learned they might see their loved ones within days. It had begun as a whisper to the US president from his top diplomat, a sign that a move was on.
I was just given a note by the Secretary of State saying that we're very close to a deal in the Middle East and they're going to need me pretty quickly.
On the ground in Gaza too, a sense that a shift was taking place.
It's incredibly quiet outside. It's the middle of the night. People haven't heard yet, but also it's incredibly quiet from the skies. Come on!
But the skies did not remain quiet. This morning, further Israeli bombardment before the ceasefire comes into effect later, with aid agencies ready to flood Gaza with desperately needed help.
We and our partners are prepared to move now. We have the expertise, the distribution networks, the community relationships in place to act. Supplies are in place and our teams are on standby. We can scale up food, water, medical and shelter assistance at once.
For families like the Al-Haddads, it is aid that cannot come soon enough. Ahmed talks of how he cried for the first time when he heard news of the agreement. It's as if I am born again, he says. In Israel too, the joy and relief palpable.
I couldn't be happier. The fact that finally hostages are coming back, that the deal was signed, that the war is over. It's a happy day.
That happiness shared by the US president this evening.
Last night we reached a momentous breakthrough in the Middle East, something that people said was never going to be done. We ended the war in Gaza and really, on a much bigger basis, created peace. And I think it's going to be a lasting peace, hopefully an everlasting peace. Peace in the Middle East. We secured the release of all of the remaining hostages, and they should be released on Monday or Tuesday.
Despite the widespread welcome for the deal across the Middle East and the world, there is much talk of the need for a symphony rather than a note of caution, with an absence of clarity on a range of deep-rooted issues. For today, though, those who have lived and breathed this war every moment of the last 2 years just want to enjoy the presence of hope. Fiona Mitchell, RTE News.
The Israeli cabinet is meeting this evening to formally approve the agreement, with the return of hostages and Palestinian prisoners and detainees to follow. Questions remain over the future of the enclave, the details of the IDF withdrawal from the Strip and the role of the Palestinian people in the future of Gaza.
The first phase of the ceasefire deal will see things moving rapidly. Following the expected approval by the Israeli government tonight, the ceasefire will go into force within 24 hours and strikes on Gaza will stop. The IDF will begin withdrawing troops and the flow of humanitarian aid, up to 600 trucks a day, will resume. The Israeli hostages, 20 of whom are alive, are to be released by the end of Monday in exchange for nearly 2,000 Palestinian prisoners and detainees. The IDF will start pulling back to the so-called initial line, marked here in yellow.
The IDF will then redeploy to that yellow line we mentioned, which will lead to the military controlling and holding about 53% of the Gaza Strip.
According to the US plan, Israel will continue to withdraw at later stages. However, it seeks to create a buffer zone inside the enclave with IDF troops remaining indefinitely to protect itself, it says, from deadly attacks similar to October 7th. That leads to another sticking point, the future of Hamas.
The biggest challenge will be getting Hamas to disarm, because without that, we're unlikely to see Israel withdraw fully.
Israel and the US ruled out Hamas playing any role in the future governance of Gaza, suggesting a group of Palestinian and international technocrats instead. Above this, the so-called Board of Peace, led by the US President and the former UK Prime Minister, Tony Blair.
This structure sidelines the Palestinians and the Palestinian Authority. There's really no local legitimacy for the creation of this body.
Regional powers, Qatar, Egypt and Turkey, who are expected to play a crucial role in rebuilding the enclave, insist that the transitional stage must lead to eventual independence of the Palestinian state. Tanya Royd, RT News.
Well, let's get more on this now from our Washington correspondent, Sean Whelan. Sean, President Trump has been claiming a big win, but there is still lots of caution too.
Oh, there is lots of caution, Sharon, no doubt, including from the President in his cabinet meeting, which is ongoing in the White House behind me here. He was talking about going to Egypt for a formal signing ceremony. He said that we've already done the signatures on my behalf, but he wants to go himself to be part of this historic moment, but also to imprint upon it the full weight and majesty of the office of the President of the United States, who has been very heavily involved, as we know, for a long time now, in trying to get this deal across the line. But we don't have a departure date. He said we are working on the timings, and also some indications of slippage in the timing for the release of the hostages. Last night, when this deal started to break, the President was talking about maybe Monday, the Egyptians talking about maybe even Sunday. Now today, in the past hour, he's been talking about Tuesday, Monday or Tuesday, but looking more like Tuesday now. So again, a 24-hour slippage there. So even in the relatively simple process of releasing hostages and the Israelis releasing their prisoners over to Hamas, the very first part of phase one of this agreement, slippage already starting to appear. And also, we were expecting to wake up this morning, frankly, to find that the Israeli cabinet had met to agree on this deal or not agree on it. That meeting hasn't even taken place yet in Jerusalem. So again, some signs of slippage. So I think the President is right to be cautious, but I think he's also on the cusp of something really, really big if he can get all 20 of those points in his agreement over the line. Sharon?
Washington correspondent Sean Whelan, thank you.